Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Middle of the Road podcast. For those of you that are new here, this is the podcast where I talk to internet creators about the road they've taken in their life. We talk about their past growing up, how that road led them to where they are now, and where they hope that road will lead them in the future. Again, I'd like to give out a small little disclaimer. I encourage my guests to express themselves as they see fit, so this podcast may not exactly be child-friendly. Today, I'm talking with Twitch streamer Alfredo is Life. We talk about establishing genuine connections with her viewers, her past saving human and animal lives, and what she believes has led to such great success for her on Twitch. Here it is, my conversation with Alfredo is Life. So first off, I want to say, of course, thank you so much for being the third guest on the Middle of the Road podcast. I've been looking forward to this for forever and ever. I know I only asked you like 2 weeks ago, but you were one of the first people I considered when I first came up with the idea for the podcast.
Really?
It was like,
oh my gosh, thank you.
Like
I feel honored.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you said yes. So you've had a wonderful year on Twitch. I found some stats online that I like to go through with you. So in the last year that you've been streaming, it seems you've gained about 965 followers. You've gotten about 28,304 views. You've done 182 different streams with 30 different games, making up the 182. You usually average about 22 viewers, according to this website that I was using for.
Yeah,
and
that sounds about right.
Your peak viewership seems to be 82 viewers at some point in time. You also have 18,000 hours of watch time. You've streamed a total of 762 hours.
Damn!
I know. When I saw
didn't
that,
even know that.
Oh my god, this girl is dedicated. So you're currently sitting at 1,270 followers, which to a person like me, I know when I streamed, I struggled to get the 50 followers to get affiliate. That's just amazing to me. That's mind blowing. Do you want to take a guess to see what your most streamed game is according to ours?
Most streamed game? Is that what you said? Damn, most streamed game. I really played a lot of The Witcher 3.
Ding ding
ding
ding ding.
Is that it?
That's it.
Man, we played a lot of that.
Yeah, I think that's what got you a lot of your followers, and that's kind of what you're known for, The Witcher 3, because you always talk about that game. Even when you're playing other games, you talk about like the books and the lore and the story.
Oh my god, yeah. When I'm playing other games, I'm like dreaming about going back and playing The Witcher 3. It's just such a good game.
Oddly enough, so The Witcher 3 seems to be your most streamed game, but your most watched game is actually Dragon Age Origins, which is something you've done recently, right?
Yeah, I'm actually still playing. I'm still playing that damn game. No, it's a great game. We're kind of just doing something a little bit different with that game, and that's why it takes so long. We're reading everything. We're reading all the lore. It's pretty much story time with video game time. We're just reading everything, and that takes a while. And of course, I talk a lot more with chat. There's quite a bit more chatters, so we have a lot of discussion going on in the stream, so it kind of stretches it out a bit.
Yeah, but I think that's something that separates you from other Twitch streamers. I know the idea for Twitch is usually just skip all the dialogue, skip all the cuts, so you just get straight to the action, and you're not about that at all. You want to get into the lore of the game. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't used to be that way. I kind of got that way with playing Dark Souls. Like, I feel like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, those games kind of train you to really pay attention to what you're picking up, pay attention to your surroundings. Do you need to read this? And then it doesn't give it to you all up front either. You really got to dig and make sense of what you're finding. And exactly. It doesn't give you anything up front at all. You have to go in there and read descriptions and items and all that good stuff. I love those games. I think initially no, I take that back. I'm trying to think of how I discovered you. I think I discovered you through Fabian. I found Fabian because
Fabian,
she was streaming some sort of Dark Souls game, and I think you were in the chat, and I read your name, which is Alfredo is Life, and I was like, oh, this person loves food like me. And then I think the first stream that I popped into of yours was when you were doing Shadow of the Colossus. I remember you were finding this big flying worm looking thing.
That thing
was
sucked.
a while ago. That was a while ago.
That was forever ago. I still need to beat that game. There's 2 games that I just kind of quit playing for a while. We usually don't do that, but Shadow of the Colossus was one of them, and Neo was the other one. Both great games. I don't know. I just kind of fell out of it and then got into something else. But I plan on going back and finishing it. But yeah, that is how we met. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That's
Fabian's
awesome.
great, by the way. Shout out to
awesome.
Fabian.
Yeah, shout out to Fabian, of course. Feel free to do as many shout outs as you want. So the reason that people listen to this podcast, at least, for me, is because they want to hear about the man or woman, in this case, behind the legend. So let's start off with an easy one. Why don't you tell us where you're from?
Where am I from? All right. I'm from a little city in Indiana called Evansville. It's South Indiana. It's actually, people only know it when I say it's right above Kentucky, literally like a strip of water. The Ohio River separates in Evansville from Henderson, Kentucky. But yeah, that's where I'm from. Small place, lots of colleges. I think there's like 3 or 4 colleges. It's a crazy college town for how small it is. And lots of cornfields. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the attraction there. Just corn. Lots of corn.
College and corn. Yeah.
College and corn. The 2 big C's.
Yep. Well, yeah, so that's where I'm from.
Okay. Well, tell me about growing up. I'm sure we all want to know what little baby Alfie was like growing up.
All right. Yeah, baby Alfie. I come from a pretty big family. We're all pretty close, but we're all very dysfunctional. So lots of fights at family reunions, stuff like that. I have a twin sister, so it was
I recently found out about that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's a twin. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was just the 2 of us, so I didn't have to grow up alone, which is awesome. I don't know what I would do without my sister. It's really weird. There's a few people that I've told I was a twin, and they're like, oh, I'm a twin too. So it's crazy. It's crazy how many twins are out there, but some people might relate to this, but it's really weird when you're a twin. It's like, I don't want to say you don't have, like, you're not an individual or anything like that. I don't want to say that, but there's definitely something, you can feel another piece of you out there somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I love my sister. She's probably one of the best things ever in my life. So yeah, it was great growing up with her. We pretty much did everything together. Literally everything. I think my mom has a picture of us. This is honestly terrible. Probably TMI, but that's what I'm known for. We did everything together. There's a picture of us actually, like, both of us are on the same toilet going to the bathroom. we're like 3 years old or something, and the toilet's big enough. We're just both sitting there at the same time. My mom had to take a picture of it, apparently, but
wow, that's kind of shocking in an adorable way.
I know, right? It's a cute picture. It's kind of, we definitely couldn't recreate that one. My butt's a little bit bigger. But yeah, we played video games together. I remember my mom had a cleaning business, so we worked with her even when we were tiny. Like, my mom would let us work a little bit, and then she'd give us an allowance. It was kind of cool, kind of teaching us how to get a job and stuff like that. But we were like 10.
Yeah.
So we got an allowance, and we would save up, and that's how we bought our first PlayStation. It was our first gaming console. Okay. And man, we played hours of Crash Bandicoot on that thing.
Crash Bandicoot.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was like my first game, was Crash Bandicoot.
It's a fun but also a very hard game. I know I tried to play the remaster that came out on PlayStation 4 with a buddy of mine, and we just couldn't do it. There was one level, it was like a bridge level. I don't know if that was like from the first game or one of the later games, but apparently it's like notorious for being super difficult because you have to time the jumps and the button presses like millisecond perfect. Otherwise you will fall through the bridge and have to start all over again. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder than you'd think, and honestly, the remaster is easier. Oh man, the controls
Really?
used to be so. Ooh, the controls used to be so. I don't even know the right word for it. You just had to be really precise, and it didn't always do what you wanted it to do. So it
Hmm.
was just really wonky. But yeah, the remaster is great. I don't even know how I played those games though, because I just got it for the Switch and I tried playing that game again and I was like, this is freaking hard. I don't
Yeah,
know how
but
I did this.
if you think about it, actually, a lot of the retro games are really, really, really hard. I know because like I've gone
Oh
through a
yeah.
retro video game sort of phase where I just go back and play like Super Nintendo games. One of my favorite ones is Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the Super Nintendo, and that thing is just I did.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yes, 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 yes. It's
Oh.
like a little. You start in a graveyard. You play as a knight called Arthur, and there's a bunch of zombies, and it's a side scrolling sort of platforming thing. And I kid you not, I didn't see the second level of that game until well into adulthood because it's so
Oh
hard.
wow.
That and Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, both of those games are some of my favorite games, but they're also extremely difficult. And that's how a lot of the games
Yeah.
are. Even some of the more popular ones, like Super Mario World. Have you gone and played Super Mario World recently for the Super Nintendo?
Oh yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
god, the camera angles.
it will make you rage.
What the hell?
It will make you rage, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm terrible at Mario games. I did not grow up with Mario at all, so forgive me if I get the titles mixed up in the
Hmm.
Mario world. But
Hmm.
I did not. I was like PlayStation all the way. But I had some friends that had Nintendo stuff, and we'd go. We did. Let's see here. We did Mario Racing a lot, so I've played some of that. I'm terrible at it. Mario Kart, yeah. And
Mario
you know
Racing,
that
yes, I know
that
that game well.
Mario Racing game. So we played that a lot. I'm so bad at it though. And then I was with a group of friends and we were playing the lost levels, like of the old Mario. I don't know. Do
Oh
you know what
my
those
god.
are?
Yeah, I tried that too for my old now defunct YouTube channel that I used to do
Yeah,
video stuff on.
that shit's
It's
so hard.
impossible.
Yeah, I know. I got nowhere, but they're fun. I mean, it's fun. You're drinking with your friends, just trying to see how far you can get.
Uh, so what were you like in your younger school days, elementary school, middle school, high school? Were you like in band or were you a huge football prodigy? Tell me about that.
Oh God, I wish. Um, I I only went to public school from kindergarten to fifth grade. And then I was homeschooled from that point on. So it's not too exciting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kindergarten was great,
It usually is.
No, I did really like sports. I liked sports a lot. I played football and basketball with the boys. The coach wanted me to play on their little team that they had, but my parents wouldn't let me play either of the sports. Just because we came from a really strict religious family, and you're not really supposed to do anything like that. Like it's all supposed to be like read the Bible, study the Bible. So
Mhm.
it's not supposed to leave a lot of time for sports and uh, I guess you could say curricular activities like that. You're just really not supposed to get into it. So I never got into it, but I did love sports. So I just played for fun. Got pretty good for being so young, but now I'm terrible and out of shape. But yeah, so there's that. We started homeschool. My sister and I started homeschooling for sixth grade. And my mom was terrified. She was like, I'm not going to let my girls go into the crazy world. So she didn't want us to start junior high and public school.
Oh, I see. So you were very protected.
Very extremely sheltered. Like there's still some pervy things that I don't know what it is. People will say it to me. I'm like, what the fuck's that? They're like, you don't know what this is? You don't know what grapefruiting is?
Oh wow.
Yeah, don't guys, nobody look that up.
Yeah, don't Google that.
But yeah, so we were really sheltered. Homeschooling was okay. I don't know. I don't know if I'd recommend it. It was great because I got to get through junior high and high school super fast because we graduated at 16
Hmm.
and I was able to start college when I was 16. So
Okay, so you
that
ended up
part
going
was,
to college.
yeah, we went to a community college. And we were terrified because we didn't know anything about the real world. And here we are going to college. So, yeah, and we were so young, we couldn't even drive ourselves to our first classes because we were too young. So it was really strange, being homeschooled and not having a lot of friends and then going to a place like college. It was just kind of crazy. But I had my sister with me. The college was not happy about doing this, but they put us all in the same classes and everything, same time periods, everything, because, we were only going to have one car when we could drive. So we went to college for the exact same thing. Everything was the same. Can you believe that?
What did you go to college for?
Surgical technology.
Whoa, that sounds fancy.
Yeah, it's not that fancy. I mean, the work is rewarding. The work is super important. I don't want to talk that down. It's definitely an interesting and important job. But it really doesn't really pay well. It does not pay well, which is insane. You'd think it would.
Yeah, anything with the name surgical in it should very much pay well.
I know. It's pretty crazy, but it wasn't really paying well. And honestly, after I think I worked in that field for about 7 or 8 years. Half of that I worked in the human surgical and medical field. The other half was veterinary, surgical and medical. So it was definitely awesome. Oh, veterinary, 100%.
Oh, yeah. I honestly expected you to say that. I would say that.
Yeah.
Working with humans, working with pets all the way.
It honestly, I don't know. Yeah, working with animals is absolutely amazing, but it's the people that you get to work with, the people that care about animals, they make the difference. Human doctors are just not always the best people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever worked in a hospital or not, but it's full of some pretty crappy stuff, like a lot of sexual harassment by very powerful people, and they just kind of treat you like crap. But and they're not always the nicest to the patients either. It's, I guess, you do it day after day, and then it kind of just becomes a job for some people instead of, actually caring about others, which is really sad. But hey, it happens.
I think that's more of a self-defense mechanism on their part, because
probably,
yeah, I've started watching Scrubs, and they kind of deal with that, like how you kind of can't get connected to your patients because
definitely
the realistic aspect of that is that a lot of them are gonna die on your watch, and there's really nothing you can do about that.
100%. I was actually going to bring. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I think they tend to disconnect from that aspect. I used to do that back at my old job, which is a federal job, doing security screening at airports. And I'm not saying that compares, because it absolutely doesn't. Just checking water bottles compared to having somebody's life in your hands. But I find myself
I know what you mean.
Doing the same thing, just because it's emotionally exhausting to form all those connections so often, and then to lose them so very quick.
No, definitely. You're absolutely correct. You definitely there's a disconnect, and you get calloused. And it's self-defense, but at the same time, you can go into the animal field, veterinary medicine, and that does not happen very often with those doctors. They care so much. And they don't make much money either. They don't make what surgeons in the human field make. They don't make much money. So you can tell they're really doing it for the right reason, because they wouldn't be there if they didn't truly 100% care. If their heart wasn't in it, they wouldn't be there, because it's more than just a job. That's a lifestyle. You gotta, I don't know, for those cute puppies, you gotta be able to come in at any point in the night, and you're not making the big bucks. So it's gotta be a lot of your heart. Your heart's gotta be in it. And you can definitely tell. I did not get paid as much in the veterinary field, but I got treated so much better. And honestly, that was worth more than anything.
So you said you did that for about 5 to 7 years, right?
The veterinary medicine, it was about 4 years. Yeah.
Okay. So connect the dots for me. How did you go from doing that to going into Twitch streaming?
Yeah. It's a very long story.
We have time. Trust me, we have time.
So I got kind of tired of doing the surgery thing. A lot of it had to do with what you were talking about. I could feel myself getting a little bit jaded.
Mm-hmm.
Tr- I just I want to feel human. You know, I don't want to see an animal die and not let myself feel that. And I could feel that starting to happen, you know, and I just wasn't okay with it. So I kind of just turned that off. And then I was feeling too much. So I'd like, you know, we'd have like an emergency C-section come in, you know, for a big dog. And sometimes if the mother's sick or if there's just complications during surgery, it ends really bad and you can lose a whole litter. We lost, I think the most we lost at once was 9 puppies.
Oh man, that must be
And
devastating.
I know how sad that is. I'm sorry. But that's kind of what did it for me. That day we lost 9 puppies and I've got 3 puppies in my hands trying to revive them, trying to get them oxygen, and it nothing was working. And I went home that day and I was like, oh my God, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? And the answer was no. Unfortunately, I'm not that strong of a person to keep doing that. So I got out of surgery and I started, you know, just doodling with computers and stuff like that, fiddling with programming, just easy front end programming. And, you know, I held off on the whole Twitch thing for a while, though. I wasn't very great at video games, and I didn't really think anybody would want to watch me play them. And also, I was still in a very strict religion at that time. And I was, you know, growing up, I had to hide the video games that I played just because people might, you know, judge me for it. Or, like, for instance, Oblivion. I played the heck out of Oblivion. And if anybody knew about that, you know, it's like Satan's video game, you know, there's magic in it and stuff.
Yeah, and all these like pagan religions in it and stuff.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So, you know, I was just like, well, how am I going to stream these games? I'm going to get found out, you know? So, eventually I just was like, you know, I don't care. So my husband talked me into streaming and I started streaming just for fun. Yeah.
So
And
when was this? Right around
when was this?
2016, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
So how did you come upon Twitch compared to like the other stuff? Like, well, I don't even know if Mixer was around then, but how did you come across Twitch streaming? I always love hearing about how people found the website.
Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't super into Twitch at first. I was more into like YouTube. I think that's probably how it is for everyone. Because YouTube's been around for forever. But I watched Dex Bonus, or Dodger, or some people know her as Dodger. I watched her. What was the name of her channel? Shoot, I heart something.
Heart gaming, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Shit, I cannot believe I forgot that. It'll come to me. But yeah, so I started watching her videos, and I was like, wow, this girl. She is so transparent and she is totally herself, and it's always upbeat and trying to make people feel good. And I don't know, I just got addicted to it. That girl got me through some really hard times. Just always being upbeat, and she had a community. And, you know, I'd go into this, well, I guess there weren't streams, but stream chats, but I'd go into the comments and everybody just seemed super nice. And I just always really liked her. She's pretty much the only YouTuber I ever watched. And then I found out she's got a Twitch channel. So I was like, really? So like, I can watch her play games live. I can watch her do D&D live, and I can be a part of the discussion. I was like, that sounds really cool. So I was like, well, I don't know what Twitch is, but I'm going to get on it just so I could chat and stuff in her streams. So that's kind of where I found out about Twitch through Dex Bonus.
Through Dodger. That's awesome. She
Yeah.
started a coffee business recently, hasn't she? I think that's doing
Dodger
pretty.
Coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's doing
that
pretty well
stuff
for
is
her.
so good.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you've
she's
actually
got
had it.
oh my God. I have like a limited edition. I have a first edition bag and I have a signed bag by her. I
Wow.
and I have like two mugs.
Yeah,
I
that's a
got a
really
lot of it.
interesting story. I think that kind of mirrors mine a little bit.
Yeah,
My
who's
two
yours?
YouTubers that got me into Twitch were number one, Game Grumps. I love the Game Grumps, as I know you do
Oh,
because of your poster,
I do
Game
love
Grumps
Game
Live.
Grumps. Yes.
But the other one
Yes.
was Markiplier. I think I modeled myself a little
Markiplier,
bit
he's a
more.
sweet guy.
Yeah, he is. I think I modeled myself a little more after Markiplier just because he's more like he does it by himself. He has the radio voice and
Yeah. I totally see that. I see that connection right
yeah,
there.
and I think one of those two introduced me to Twitch, and I was like, I thought the same thing you did. The fact that you can go on Twitch and not only watch the person that you, quite honestly, that you look up to, but also
Yeah,
have some sort of chance at interacting with them. There's, at least
exactly.
at that point, right around 2015, 2016, there was no other website where you could do that. Like you can get on the
I know.
YouTube comments and, post your comment or whatever, but there was 20,000 other comments that said the same exact thing. And with
Yeah.
Twitch, it gives you the opportunity to connect with that streamer or that performer like no other website. I think
Oh yeah.
that's really cool.
I agree. It's definitely unique. A little scary. That was also I'd never been in chat rooms or anything before, so it was very strange, like talking to all these strangers. Um, and I still don't even go into chat room. Like, I mean, I guess it's not really chat rooms. That's not the big thing. It's kind of threads now. But
Uh,
I don't know. It was. I'd never done anything like that, so I was a little bit scared. I know that probably sounds weird, but
no, everybody's
yeah.
scared on the first stream.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I really do love Twitch, and honestly, I've met probably some of the best people in the world through Twitch.
Yeah, you have a great
It's pretty
community.
amazing. There's just so much I could say about it, but I don't want to run into other questions you might ask, so I'll just wait.
No, you're fine. And like I said, in the past year, you've seen such a pronounced jump in viewers. I remember when I first discovered you average about maybe 12, 13 viewers. And now every time I'm in your chat room, you're easily at 30, 40, sometimes even 50. A lot of people would say that you've, quote unquote, made it. Like, what do you think led to such a pronounced growth in your Twitch channel?
I would say honestly, Life is Strange did a lot for me. That series really introduced me to some just really sweet people. I mean, you know anything about Life is Strange?
No, I missed
No?
that stream
Oh,
or those streams.
you should play it yourself. Stream it.
Hmm.
Stream it and play it. But
Absolutely.
it's so good. And it's a very touching game. Shallow, superficial people, they probably would not enjoy it as much. So the people that really feel for this game and they put their heart into it, it's definitely a special kind of person. And I got to meet a lot of those people. Well, not meet, but you know what I mean. We're
Yeah.
friends. We're
Uh-huh.
friends. We haven't met in person yet, but we're definitely friends. I've made some of the best friends from that game. Honestly, the Dark Souls and Bloodborne community too. Like, just some really cool people. A lot of people say that Twitch can be pretty toxic, but I have not really experienced that yet. There's a few creepers, but
Hmm.
for the most part, everybody's just been amazing. And every series you play has a different following. So you get to meet a lot of different people, but then you find out that you all have something in common. So it's just really awesome. It
Yeah.
really is.
And that's the
But
connecting thread.
I'd say Life is Strange brought me the more active chatters, I'd say, because those people tend to really want to talk about things and their feelings. And honestly, I just love that. I eat that up. I love it to death. Also, I got rated. Oh my God, I can't believe I almost forgot to bring this up. I got rated by one of the voice actresses for Kate
Whoa.
Marsh in Life is Strange. Yeah, while I
Really?
was playing. Yeah.
What was that
Diane
when you hit
Hutton.
your
Shout out.
82 peak viewers?
Probably.
Yeah, sounds about
Honestly,
right.
yeah, probably. It was amazing. I know that there's clips of it. I know it's on a VOD somewhere, but I was in shock. I thought somebody was trolling me. I was like, "Nuh-uh." Nuh-uh. Are you
That's
serious?
amazing. I missed that. So, how, did she tell you how she found you, or what was the reasoning behind her rating you?
It was random. She picked someone that was playing Life is Strange and rated that person,
And
as
it
far
just
as I
happened to be
know.
you. Wow,
Yeah.
what luck! That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I know. It really is. I think like two of my current mods came from that raid. So, yeah, it was a great experience. I still owe a lot today. Her name's Diane Hutton, and she streams on Twitch. She's a great streamer as well, variety streamer, and she's really funny and beautiful and great. But on Twitch, she's Dabraham Lincoln.
Oh, that's
It's,
awesome. That's a great
yeah,
name.
gotta check her out. She's great. Sorry for the
No,
shout outs.
please keep that just shows the depth and the growth of your community, that you have these genuine connections to the people that watch you. That's amazing to me. Not a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
people can build such a dedicated community around somebody playing video games, you know?
Yeah, I mean 100%. I feel like I know this might sound needy or weird, but I really feel like they're like part of my family. Like I feel like they're family.
Uh-huh.
And maybe it's naive, I don't know. Because I mean, if we get down to it, they are internet strangers, but
Yeah.
I do trust them and I feel deeply, deeply connected to these people. And honestly, I think I think you get what you put into it. And when I stream, what I'm putting into it is, I'm going into it knowing I just want to make friends. I'm not going to focus on the viewers. I used to put how many viewers there were or whatever. I used to put it in the corner of the stream and in like a little widget, and
Hmm.
I took it off because I was like, that it really doesn't matter to me. So I just quit paying attention to it. I don't even look at the views. I don't even look at the amount of followers because that's just not what I want to focus on. I'd rather focus on the relationships. Like I really do want to build somewhat of a relationship with anybody who wants to come into the chat and get to know me. So that's what I focus on. It's worked out pretty well. It gets a little bit stressful sometimes, and I know that the more and more people that I get to meet. I know that might be kind of hard to sustain, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do my best to keep doing that because that's honestly those are the type of people that I want coming into my stream. And on it, the loyal lurkers, like I'm down. I'm a lurker. I'm a terrible lurker. I probably should talk more to people, but I love the lurkers too. And that's just what I want from Twitch, and that's what I've gotten. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Hmm. So I want to ask you a question. It might be like really complicated, or you might not know the answer to it, but this goes back to kind of like giving advice to people that are sort of starting out on Twitch and want to build their own channel and their own community. It seems to me personally that there seems to be two schools of thought when it comes to Twitch streaming. There's
Yeah.
the school of thought that says pick a game, pick a game that you're good at, and just grind it out and just keep playing that over and over and over, and then slowly but surely build out your viewership and your community through that. And then there's the other sort of school of thought that I think you went through, which is the variety streaming. The other school will say that variety streaming when you're starting out on Twitch is a what's the phrase? It's like a kill shot. It's a no go.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
doesn't work. You need to start on your one single game and then go from there. And then once you've essentially quote unquote made it on Twitch, then you transition into a variety streamer. What do
Yeah.
you think of that? Do you agree with that, or what's going on?
Um, I agree that there's definitely the presence of negative connotation to a variety streamer for small streamers. That's definitely a thing, but I don't agree that it should be a thing. Um, I I don't know. I guess it depends on what you're going for. If you want to be that streamer that attracts the type of people that just want to watch the same game over and over, I think it would be the more competitive type people. Um, they're the ones that want to watch the same game over and over. They want to watch somebody get better so they can learn something and they can be competitive. That's just kind of the way I see it, because you see that a lot with competitive games. You see it with Overwatch, Fortnite, Apex. Like it's very competition based. And if that's what you're looking for, fine, do it. Eventually you will get a following. You're going to get those people that want to watch that all the time. But that's not what I wanted. So that's not what I went with. But I do agree that they're both things. I don't think that one is better than the other. I think that there's just people that go into it wanting to take something different away from the experience. And instead of all the views, I want all the friends. So so that's just the way I went, and that's what works, because honestly, I'd be a nervous wreck if I was streaming something with the hopes of me improving and people seeing me improving and being like a good player. That's not, I'm more about the story, more about the journey than, being the best.
Okay, yeah, because me and a buddy of mine had this conversation. He's very much of the camp that, like, no, you got to grind out your game, find it, just play that for hours, be consistent, and that's how you build your viewership. But I agree with what you said.
It's one way to do it.
You essentially said it just boils down to what type of a streamer and also what kind of viewer that you want. There's the viewer that is very much invested in the game itself and not necessarily into the streamer. And then there's the type of viewer that is invested in the streamer themselves, and they will sit there and watch them play whatever game as long as that person is playing. And to me personally, I think that's more of it's a slow burn. It takes a little longer to build your base and your community through that. But I think it just builds a healthier community, because let's say, for example, one of the biggest streams right now on Twitch is of, Ninja. If Ninja himself, like, he got big off of Fortnite, if he were to go and play The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, I'm very positive that he would lose at least 60% of his viewership. They wouldn't be interested in watching him, because
it's a completely different pace.
Yeah, the people they want to watch him play Fortnite. They don't want to watch him, if that makes sense. So I think,
and obviously
go
that's
ahead.
working for him, so that's wonderful. But if I was in that position, I would be suffocating.
Yeah,
like,
and it's not
I
what
have
you
to
want.
play this game every fucking day. Are you kidding me?
That's a nightmare to me, or to you, or to the type of people that want that. I just thought it was a really cool question. I wanted to get your input on that. So another thing is, I think one of your big driving factors to your success is that you make it a point to form a relationship with every single viewer that comes into your stream, and you do that really well. But I think you're getting to the point where you're no longer going to be able to catch every chat message and respond to every viewer, just because, you're getting too I know that sounds bad, like too big.
No, you're fine.
How do you plan on adapting to that? I know some of the bigger streamers have implemented like a sort of chat that you have to donate some sort of money for them to see your message. Like, how do you plan on adapting to that?
Oh, well, I won't be doing the pay to chat way, and that's for sure. I guess I'm just gonna have to take my time with it, and I always tell people, if I miss your comments, and it's really important, and you really want my input, you can always direct message me. As long as it's not weird, so as long as you're not sending me weird shit, I'm gonna answer you back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm living proof of that.
Yeah,
I was like, hey, you want to be in my podcast? Sure, let's do it.
No, I'm all about that. Like, I don't get annoyed, and I could talk about pretty much any subject. So I really like talking with people. But I don't really know how I'm gonna deal with it. I'm just gonna do my best. That's all I can do. I always tell people that they can repeat stuff in chat. I'm not gonna view it as spamming. I'm not gonna get annoyed. I guess I just ask, be patient with me. If you ever if anybody ever needs to talk to me or whatever, I'll definitely get to it, but I do miss I do miss a lot in chat. Depending on the game that I'm playing, sometimes it gets intense.
Yeah, I know when you were playing, what was it? You were playing Apex. Apex Legends. That's a
Yeah.
very involved game, and you just don't have the chance to go look at chat and see every single thing. But I just
Yeah.
think that speaks a lot to the type of streamer that you are. Again, you want to form those relationships, that this is a problem you've actually thought of. Like, how am I going to fix this?
Yeah, well, I fixed it by not streaming Apex again. I mean, I might just maybe one day a week, just so I can get a chance to play with some of the friends in chat.
Mhm.
But it's definitely not going to be like a stream staple because I felt so disconnected from everyone, and I hated that. I really did not like that, and I can't play well when I'm streaming. I used to play Halo 3 a lot, so I really get into shooters like that, but I could not get into it while I was streaming it because I was so concerned with the chat. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it and I'll get better at it. I don't know, but it definitely wasn't what I was looking for.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we talked about before, is just what is not what you want. You want a different thing. You want to be able to talk to your chat and essentially play through the game together, not play a game by yourself and have people watch you.
Oh yeah. If I wanted to play a game by myself, I'd, play a game by myself and not
And
stream
not get
it.
into it. Yeah, it's a lot easier. I know that.
Yeah, definitely.
So are you streaming full time yet?
I actually streamed full time for a while.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career, so I worked at Starbucks for a bit,
Mhm.
and I was streaming almost full time during that time period, and then I quit, and then I streamed a ton. But then I ran into some health problems. I'm not the healthiest person, and it was really stressing me out. Didn't really have the energy, and I wasn't always the nicest person. The health issues I have cause a lot of pain, and sometimes I'm just really grouchy, and I don't want to be a grouchy person on stream, so I kind of cut back right now to 3 days a week scheduled. But sometimes I plan on streaming on days where I'm not scheduled. It's just I didn't want to put that pressure on myself to be scheduled for every single day.
Mhm.
So I cut back a little bit right now. Not saying I won't go back to, full time almost every day. Not saying I won't go back to that. But right now, this is kind of what I can handle.
Okay.
But yeah, so I do plan on getting back to it.
That's awesome. I really hope you do. And I think a lot of people will say the same.
Yeah, yeah. Some people aren't too happy that I cut back the hours, but
Yeah, I see your Discord. I was like, where are you? You're supposed to be live right now.
yeah. I try to update people. I just got tired of having to cancel, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna cut back the hours. That way, I don't have to deal with throwing disappointment at people's faces. But
So you recently attended was it your first Twitch meetup?
yeah, that was my first meetup of any kind.
How did that go? Tell me about it.
Oh, I was terrified. I the day of, I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, I have to go to this thing. So immediately I'm just thinking about it, and I love talking to people. I love meeting new people, but I'm terrible at doing it in person. If that even makes sense, I guess that's I like people, but I'm really introverted,
Uh-huh.
extremely. But anyway, I was terrified that morning. I took a shower, hoping that I would feel better afterwards, and then I'm sitting on my bed, essentially dressed like Winnie the Pooh, just like a big shirt and no bottoms, staring at my pants, just thinking if I put those pants on, like I'm gonna have to go to this thing. I
Wow.
don't know. I was just sitting there dreading it, putting my pants on, driving there, and meeting all these new people. And I actually messaged. There's a there's a really awesome streamer named Sixation. Uh, I messaged him. I knew he lived in Orlando,
That was on Twitter,
and
right? I think I saw that. Like I saw
yeah, it
that
was on
as it was
Twitter.
unfolding.
And I knew he was going. I was like, dude, I think I'm gonna chicken out. And he said he was not about to let that happen. He actually told me to put my pants on and get there. I was like, how'd you know I was staring at my pants? How'd you know?
Get out of my head.
Yeah. So I did. I put the damn pants on and I drove there. And it was one of the coolest things ever. Met a lot of really cool people. Just I don't know, just people I didn't even know were in this area. The type of people I was looking for. Yeah, they were all there, and that was awesome. It was such a good time, and I had so much in common with everyone there. It was really cool. The people just offering support in so many different ways, whether it be through Twitch or we got to talking about the career path I want to take. I want to get into IT and things like that. There were people saying that they'd help me with that. They could offer me jobs down the road. It was absolutely amazing. Just support in every
Wow.
direction. It was fantastic.
That sounds
Anytime
amazing.
there's a Twitch meetup in your area, anybody who's listening, go to it. Even if
Go
you
to
don't
it.
stream, even if you don't stream, even if you don't really know what Twitch is, if you like video games, just go.
Just go and have fun and meet people. Even if
Yeah.
you're sitting on your bed without pants thinking whether you should go or not, you definitely should go.
Exactly. Like a really sad Winnie the Pooh. That's what I was. No pants.
That's amazing. I think that support makes a lot of difference. I know for me personally, I live here in Houston, Texas, and I do know that there's many people that do what I do. I feel like I'd be a little more on it if I found other people with like interests and people that would support me or whatever. That's amazing that you got to go to that and meet some people.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
But definitely it helps a lot. I got a boost of confidence from that. Helped my anxiety. It was just, I don't know. It was great. And I can't wait to do it again.
You actually got rated by somebody that you met there, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And I'm trying to raid some of the people I met, but they stream a little bit later. So I can't really catch them before I sign off, but, it'll happen. I really want to raid some of those guys because they're so cool. Such cool people. Good streamers too.
And I think that's a really big part of the Twitch game. You gotta network and meet people and talk to people. And I think that's how you grow your channel.
Yeah, definitely. I like networking. It's a good word. But you want to network for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the last podcast stream that I had with my buddy Vex, we talked about that. It's networking because you want to help the person, not necessarily because you want them to help you.
Yeah.
Because that's immediately apparent when somebody comes in. You can just tell right off the bat that they're interested in and trying to take stuff from you instead of giving. And I told my my buddy Vex that there's a quote from this motivational speaker that I used to listen to a lot of the time when I was younger. He says that you can have everything in life that you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And I believe that applies to Twitch perfectly. If you help people build their channel, they will be more than happy to help you build yours with raise and host and just sitting there in your channel talking to you. That makes a lot of difference compared to, having 0 people in your streaming compared to having that one person that just wants to talk to you. It makes a world of difference.
Oh my gosh. Yes, 100%. Yeah. It just makes a world of difference. Like if you go into it wanting to make friends with other fellow streamers, it's not like work. When you want to help them build their channel, it's like you're helping a friend. So it's not work. You're happy to do it. You're happy to raid. You're happy to, repost on Twitter or, whatever it may be for you showing support.
Yeah.
It's just, you do it without thinking.
Of course.
And it's just fun,
Yeah.
And then they do it for you. So it's just one of those things. You get out of it what you put into it. And
it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. If you do it right.
So
just don't go out there and be a dick and you should be fine.
Yeah, because that'll have the opposite effect.
I mean, I'm sure there are some not nice people that have made it on YouTube and Twitch, but how happy are they? Like, do they get to have a bad day and then talk to all these awesome friends and then feel better at the end of the day? Probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not, because they don't have that type of community.
I feel like that would be exhausting. Just 24/7, people just hate you.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
my God.
There's a lot of hate out there. It's like people go and watch their streamers, and if they're not doing well that day,
Yeah,
they will definitely tell you.
that sounds terrible. Oh my God. So, okay, tell me, what are your plans for the future with Twitch? Do you plan on continuing with Twitch? I know you just said you want to go into IT. Is that what you will eventually want to end up being instead of a Twitch streamer, or elaborate on that?
I don't really know what I want to do.
Perfectly valid answer.
I'm still kind of I still feel like that little girl that thinks about what she wants to be when she grows up. Like that's still me, and I'm 28.
Hmm.
So I definitely enjoy working with computers. I would like to pursue that. I still want to do streaming though. I plan on doing streaming as long as I possibly can. Um so I'd say that they're both in my future. I'm not like trying to be like a big streamer or anything. I'm kind of just focusing on the people. That's it. That's pretty much it. I'm just focusing on making friends, and if that's a like you said a slow burn, then I am okay with that. Because honestly, if I had hordes of people coming at me, I would not know where to even start with talking to them. So I'm okay with the growing slow. I'm
Uh-huh.
okay with that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so
Okay.
that's pretty much it. I don't really know what I want to do,
Yeah,
but
I
IT
feel the
is
same way.
definitely looking good.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I'm considering maybe going into college to go and do some sort of like game design degree, but at the same time, there's so many other things that I enjoy doing, the creative aspect of things, the YouTube, this podcast. So
Exactly.
yeah, I know what you mean when you say I don't know, but I have ideas. And
Yeah.
and I think people need to be okay. Our culture needs to be okay with that being an okay answer. The fact that you don't know. I think in our
I
culture
agree.
here, it's like you need to have everything planned out step by step. And if you don't have
Yeah.
everything planned out, then you're some sort of failure. And
Yeah.
that's not right. There's another quote I've heard. I'm a big repository of useless quotes, by the way.
That's not useless. That's pretty valuable. I mean, I agree. Like it's definitely I think it's definitely led to a lot as far as anxiety and depression in this generation. You
Yes,
know, we have the
absolutely.
previous generations telling you you need to buy a house, you need to have that job, and you got to settle. Like that's the point of life.
Yeah, by this
Um,
age, and if you haven't done it, then there's something wrong. And no, I completely disagree with that.
yeah, I
That quote that I
disagree.
mentioned says that you can drive all the way from Los Angeles to New York simply by seeing the next 10 feet in front of you. You don't
Uh
need to
huh.
have the whole road planned out. As long as you can see those next 10 feet, that first step, that second step, you're getting somewhere and you're going to get to where you want to go.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a really good way of viewing
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Because if you're constantly looking at the big future picture, like you are going to get
That's
overwhelmed.
scary. It's
It's
overwhelming.
terrifying. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I agree with you. It should be okay for you to not have things figured out, you know. And I think people need to know that that's okay.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Okay.
I agree with you.
So we've come near the end of the podcast. We've been going for 54 minutes. Can you believe
That's
that?
crazy. That went by so fast.
It does. It usually does. So I like to end the podcast in a sort of fun way. I like to ask my guest if they have any ghost stories,
Oh
paranormal
shit.
activity, UFO sightings, anything like that. I want to hear about it. And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. But I just
Oh,
think
let
it's
me
a really cool way
think.
to end the podcast on a lighter
That
note.
is very cool. I'm trying to think. You know, I'm not a very superstitious person.
Uh,
So I don't really believe, like, obviously, I believe that there's other life out there as far as aliens go, but I don't really think that we've been visited. Like, I feel like we'd have more substantial proof that's undeniable and that, you know, the government wouldn't be able to hide.
mhm.
Uh, the way people claim that they've been able to hide it. I just think that if we were visited, we definitely know. So I haven't had any experience as far as that goes. I'm trying to think of anything freaky. My family, my grandparents, they own a farm in Dawson Springs, Kentucky.
Okay,
And
sounds scary.
that place was super creepy. Actually, two of the first serial killers in the United States went through where my grandparents live, and they stayed in a bluff.
Whoa.
They slept in a bluff that my grandparents actually own the property where the bluff line is. And yeah, I think 3 people got murdered on on the bluff line.
Okay, so for those of us that haven't lived on farms, what is a bluff?
Oh, a bluff. Sorry. So you have mountains. There's cliffs. A bluff line is like a really tiny cliff that goes. It's really wide, but it's not super tall. It's like it's a small cliff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what a bluff line is.
So it's like a little like division, sort of.
Yeah. And there's lots of rock. It's very rocky, and there's usually creeks and stuff below it. Sometimes there's caves in it too. I think there's one that's got a pretty deep cave in it.
Okay.
So yeah. So that was creepy. There's lots of ghost stories revolving around that land. There's an Indian burial ground there.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like everything.
That'll do it for sure.
Kind of everything. Trying to think though. There's this one story my grandparents swear they've heard it. But there's a really I don't know how deep I can go into it. It's pretty gruesome, but one of their children, it was a traveling family of serial killers, and one of the children would not be quiet, and they were about to get caught. So they actually, this is terrible, but they killed the kid
my God.
On that bluff line to get him to shut up because they didn't want to get caught. Yeah, they were terrible, terrible people. It's Little Heart and Big Heart. I think that's what they're called. They're cousins. But yeah, so supposedly, if you go out in that part of the woods in the middle of the night, you can hear a baby crying, and half my family swears that it's real.
No,
I've never heard it.
That's so scary.
I know, it's really creepy, but I've never heard it. I'm also extremely skeptical, but I don't know that I'm boring. I don't have any creepy stories. I got followed once. I had to pull a knife out for self-defense. That's kind of creepy.
When was that?
This was a few years ago. Actually, it was more like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went down and I got home late and I was by myself. It was like 2 a.m. and I went down this alley to get to my apartment, and this guy followed me. He had a hoodie. He was scruffy, and I couldn't really make out his face. It was super dark, and man, he followed me. I turned like 3 times and he followed me, and I eventually got so creeped out. I went to somebody else's door that wasn't mine because I didn't want this fool knowing where I lived. And I turned around real fast and I pulled the knife out, and I was like, "What the fuck do you want?" And he tried telling me he was going to ask me for directions.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me right now? You don't follow a girl in the dark to ask for directions somewhere. Yeah, so that's probably one of the scariest things that's happened to me.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I don't have upsetting.
Super creepy. I'm sorry. I'll probably think of something creepy as soon as we get off of here.
That's usually how it is. Well, that's okay. No worries. I mean, those stories were pretty good and pretty interesting enough. Well, I think that's the end of the podcast. We're hitting the hour mark. I want to thank you again so much for appearing on my podcast. I think this turned out pretty well. I think a lot of your viewers are going to enjoy it, and hearing about how you were like as when you were young and how you got into Twitch streaming and all the shout outs that you gave on the podcast.
Oh yeah. Definitely got to support my friends. But thank you so much for having me. I am truly honored. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I just really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Well, there you have it. My conversation with Alfredo is life. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Let Alfie know what you thought of this podcast. You can find her on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram under the same name, Alfredo_is_life. And feel free to join the Pasta Pile Discord. It's a great server with great people. You can find all those links in the description down below. I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think I should talk to next? If you enjoy this episode of the podcast, consider subscribing for more episodes to come. That's it, everyone. You can find me as Almighty Taco 24 on the YouTubes and the Twitters. Be good to each other and have a wonderful rest of your day.